Appreciate you joining me once again. We're going to be thinking about Joseph revealing himself to his brothers today, his brothers realizing who they've been dealing with. Today's hymn is Christ Receiveth Sinful Men.
Sinners Jesus will receive, sound this word of grace to all, who the heavenly pathway leave, all who linger, all who fall. Sing it o'er again, and o'er again, sing it o'er again. Christ receiveth sinful men, Christ receiveth sinful men. Make the message clear and plain. Make the message plain. Christ receiveth sinful men.
Let's now think about Joseph, and let's read the passage as he reveals himself to his brothers. Genesis 45:1. Joseph could not restrain himself before all those who stood by him, and he cried out, "Make everyone go out from me." So no one stood with him while Joseph made himself known to his brothers. He wept aloud, and the Egyptians in the house of Pharaoh heard it. Then Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Does my father still live?" But his brothers could not answer him, for they were dismayed in his presence. And Joseph said to his brothers, "Please come near to me." So they came near, and then he said, "I am Joseph your brother, whom you sold into Egypt. But now do not therefore be grieved or angry with yourselves, because you sold me here, for God sent me before you to preserve life. For these 2 years the famine has been in the land, and there are still 5 years in which there will be neither plowing nor harvesting. And God sent me before you to preserve a posterity, for you in the earth, and to save your lives by a great deliverance. So now it was not you who sent me here, but God. And he has made me a father to Pharaoh, and lord of all of his house, and a ruler throughout all the land of Egypt. Hurry and go up to my father, and say to him, Thus says your son Joseph, God has made me lord of all Egypt. Come down to me, do not tarry. You shall dwell in the land of Goshen. You shall be near to me, you and your children, your children's children, your flocks, your herds, all that you have. There I will provide for you, lest you and your household and all that you have come to poverty, for there are still 5 years of famine. Behold your eyes and the eyes of my brother Benjamin see that it is my mouth that speaks to you. So you shall tell my father of all my glory in Egypt, and of all that you have seen, and you shall hurry and bring my father down here." Then he fell on his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, and Benjamin wept on his neck. Moreover, he kissed all his brothers, and wept over them, and after that his brothers talked with him. Christ receiveth sinful men. One of the things said about Jesus, of course, by the Pharisees and the Sadducees, they said he eats with sinners. And it's a marvelous thing that the Lord receiveth sinful men, even me with all my sin. And Joseph receives his brothers. And we have to take advantage of that the Lord receives sinful men. He did not come to call the righteous. He came to call sinners to repentance. The question is, will we come when he calls? And while Christ receiveth sinful men, and Joseph, and you can tell he's speaking to his brothers, but his brothers are dismayed. And so now they are coming to realize who they've been dealing with. And he calls them to move to Egypt, to go get Jacob and to bring the whole family down. And so now, especially for the brothers who sold him, the question is, will they now come near Joseph? And the Lord receives sinful men. The question is, will men receive Jesus in that way? The tax collectors and the harlots came to him. And a lot of folks, they never do that. The brothers, now that they realize it, And surely at some point they remembered what, kind of how this all starts with the dreams, so to speak, the dreams in the coat. And now the dreams have come to pass, and now they have bowed the knee. And they are going to need to continue, frankly, and recognize it is in Joseph's power to still care for them. And before, they're very envious of that coat that Joseph had. Well, what Joseph is wearing now is probably more spectacular than that coat, so to speak. Now he's in royal apparel. Are you going to come near Joseph? All those things that all those things that displeased you earlier, those things have now come to pass. Will you come near Joseph? Jesus, this is like the Mount of Transfiguration. And all of a sudden you go from, the man from Nazareth, the son of Mary and Joseph, and he's not comely that we should desire him. And then on the Mount of Transfiguration, and all of a sudden he's transfigured, and he's shining, and Peter and James and John are afraid because he doesn't look like he looked before. Okay? Will you come near him now? Or are you going to recoil and not respect the authority that he has? The sinners, as Jesus receives sinful men, will sinners come near him? And will sinners humble themselves? And that's the question for the brothers. Will they humble themselves? And they do. To their credit, they do. And to their credit, and to Joseph in God's glory, so to speak. And he kisses all his brothers and wept over them, and after that his brothers talked with him. After that his brothers talked with him. I wonder what they said. I wonder what they said. It's not recorded, but I wonder what they said. Sinners Jesus will receive. As the hymn says, sound this word of grace to all, who the heavenly pathway leave, all who linger, all who fall. Sing it o'er again. Christ receiveth sinful men. Hope you have a good day. Join us tomorrow for another portion of our daily praise.